Today was July the 4th, 2025, and we were in Split, Croatia. And of course, the biggest attraction here is Diocletian's Palace, which is one of the most spectacular ancient Roman structures still in existence. And it's where you'll spend most of your time while in Split, even if you don't realize it. That's because it's not a palace like you're imagining, nor is it a museum. It's a maze of streets packed with people, shops, and restaurants, all of which are intertwined with ancient structures of the palace. In fact, there are 220 buildings and 3,000 residents embedded in the complex. Diocletian was the emperor of Rome from 284 until his abdication in 305. That's right, he retired, and this palace was designed to be his retirement residence. He lived in this palace until his death in 316. While he was responsible for bringing peace and stability to the Roman Empire after decades of chaos, he is most infamous for his horrific persecution of Christians, destroying churches and torturing and executing Christians who refused to sacrifice to the Roman gods. And here we are in the peristyle of the palace, the inner courtyard, where you can see one of the 12 black granite sphinxes Diocletian brought back from Egypt. In the courtyard, you might meet some Roman guards, or you might see a procession like this, in which you actually get to meet the Roman emperor himself. Let's move on to the Cathedral of St. Dominus. The exterior of the building is surrounded by an original colonnade of 24 columns, and the tall Romanesque bell tower was constructed between the 13th and 16th centuries and reconstructed in 1908 after it collapsed. Tickets to enter the bell tower, the cathedral, the baptistry, the treasury can be purchased right there in the courtyard right next to the church. All right, moving into the Cathedral of St. Dominus. This is one of the world's best preserved ancient Roman structures. This octagonal cathedral started off as a mausoleum for Diocletian, so this was his burial site. He was interred here in the year 311. Shortly thereafter, Christians broke into the mausoleum, destroyed his sarcophagus, and turned the building into a church. The seats and the pulpit date to the 1200s. And again, entry into the cathedral requires a ticket, and also you do have to be dressed appropriately. All right, let's head out the back of the cathedral and back to the courtyard to check in on the emperor. So let's take a look at these amazing views of our ship and some other ship, the harbor, the city. In order to see these wonderful things, you need to climb to the top of the bell tower, which again requires a ticket and a small fee, but it is definitely worth it. Here's a look inside of the top of the tower, and a look at the steps going up there, and we're gonna go on a hyperlapse down the steps, and as you can see, it's not too terrible of a climb. It's got a railing, it's pretty safe, slip resistant until you get here. Oh, another view about halfway down. Let's check in on the emperor again. Alright, on that note, let's head into the crypt. Not much to see here. In my opinion, kind of a waste of my money, but at least it was cool on that hot day. So, that helped, but not enough. So I went and got some ice cream. As you can see here, it was very, very good. And we'll check in on the emperor one more time. Everything seems good here, so we're going to sneak on by these guards and head on over to the baptistry. So this lady here is checking to make sure that we have appropriately paid for our tickets to enter the baptistry. It is part of the cathedral structures and was originally a temple of Jupiter. But in the 6th century, it was turned into a Christian baptistry, a site for Christian baptism. A statue of John the Baptist now fills the spot where Jupiter once stood.
Carissimi hospites, entrare, porta palazzi aperta est.
The palace grounds have 4 gates. Each of the 4 walls of the palace complex had a gate at its center that's named after a medal. Here you can see the elaborate northern golden gate. Now this gate here, the silver gate or eastern gate, and the western gate, the iron gate here, are very important because the road that stretches between them separated the emperor's residence from the servants and soldiers entrusted to protect him. Let's check in on that emperor now.
Welcome!
One thing worth noting about Split is it was taken over by the Venetians in the 1400s and ruled by them for over 400 years. So while in this square you see remnants of Diocletian, like this clock that was built for him in the 4th century, and even the bell tower added in the 11th century, you have evidence of Venetian conquest of the area. So here we have a old town hall, even though it wasn't really a town hall, built by the Venetians, and part of their defense of the city is this Venetian tower. And one thing I could not get enough of on this trip and was so sad to leave was the Adriatic Sea. It is beautiful, it is stunning, it is clear. Look at the fish swimming around in it. It's the most amazing thing.